Hello, everyone. We are the Team E, and we will discuss our team assessment for the summative assessment, the about the political globalization. So, hi, I am Sherwin Moncada Jr.
Hi, I'm Sharina Miranda.
I am Kate Gabriel Molina.
Hi, I'm Anthony Paul Padios.
Nice meeting you guys. So, come on, let's start our discussion. So,
Yeah.
the first question is, what is the Westphalian idea of the state? Westphalian idea of state is for the states to have their sovereignty on their respective territories, for states to have their leaders who will govern them for the betterment of their society. According to Patton in 2019, the Treaty of Westphalia in 1648 has resolved the issues that they faced before, such as the recognition of religious freedom that separated the authority between the church and politics or state. The second one is the implementation of international diplomacy to have formalization of how the countries should resolve encountered conflicts. And last but not the least is that it solidified the sovereignty to achieve better governed community. Do you have any ideas about the idea, Westphalian idea of state, Miss Kate Gabriel Molina?
For me, this idea states that no matter how big or small the state has, it has an equal right to sovereignty. Yes. So, kahit gaano kalaki yung country or yung population ng isang state, and so kahit gaano kalaki or kaliit yung population ng isang state or country, meron silang equal right to have the sovereignty.
Yes, you
Yun
have
lang.
there. Yes, that's true, Miss Kate. That every state, no matter how small or big it is, they should have sovereignty. What about you, Mr. Anthony Paul Padios?
In my opinion, it is a global structure founded on the principle of international law that each state has jurisdiction over its territory and domestic affairs to the exclusion of all external powers, on the principle of non-interference in another country's domestic affairs, and on the principle that each state, whenever it is large or small, is equal in international law. The theory was named after the Treaty of Westphalia, which, like you said, Sherwin Moncada, ended the 30 years war in 1648. And,
Okay, nice one. You have a very good point, Mr. Padios. And last but not the least, share naman your ideas, Miss Sharina Miranda, about the
Yes.
Westphalian state of
Yes.
idea.
Thank you, Sherwin. Um, if I may add, this Westphalian idea of the state is where we got the definition of the state that we have right now. As we see, the history of this Westphalian state is it is made, the treaty was made in, as said by our teammate, in 1648, which ended or had reduced the power of Roman Catholic Church and the Holy Roman Empire. So, I'm gonna speak in Tagalog. As we all know, dati pa is parang absolute yung power ng simbahan over the people. Control nila ang pag-iisip ng mga tao, yung mga teachings um, ng simbahan is very influential sa mga tao. So ginawa itong state na to, Westphalian state, para sa mas ikabubuti kasi nagkaroon ng dispute dati sa ikabubuti ng mga tao. So ayun, binawasan yung power ng simbahan at inano siya, hiniwalay siya sa power ng government. Sovereign na yung government natin or the state. Thank you.
Okay,
And
so
sorry.
okay, so that was very impactful insights about the Westphalian idea of state. So now let's move on for the second question. The second question asks asks us to discuss the five global forces that challenge the existence of the state in the contemporary world. So to start, let's ask our teammate for the first force. So who is the first one who's assigned to it?
Opo.
Yes, Mr. Anthony. Share naman your assigned
Ang
part
sa akin
of
po is
the yes.
global economic interdependence. Um, sa pagkakaalam ko, it relates to countries common reliance on one another around the world. To put it more simply, it is the global mutual dependency. For something, one country is reliant on another. The country is often reliant on another for the same or different reasons. Global interdependence grows as more countries rely on one another for basic necessities like energy and food. International trade. International trade, or the importing of and selling of goods and service, is primarily responsible for global interdependence. In reality, today's countries cannot live for long without the imports and exports of one another. Gaya po ng bansa natin. Oil and natural gas have produced global interdependence between major producers and those who lack sufficient supplies. When foreign trade develops, countries that are more competitive in specific areas specialize. In other words, they concentrate on producing specific products or providing specific services. Those countries that specialize must then import. They need to import because certain industries have shrunk as more resources were diverted to the production of specific products. As a result, global interdependence has become a reality for all. Ayan, yun lang po.
Oh.
Okay, so now let's move on to Miss Kate Molina's assigned force, which is the
Economic and political integration.
yes, the economic and
Yes.
political integration.
So for this force, in this economic interdependence, political and economic partnerships increase, such as the Association of the Southeast Asian Nations, African Union, and the European Union. With this, the relationship between these countries exists. Um, ano yun? With this, relationship between these countries were developed and help each other to satisfy the needs of its people. That creates huge number of challenges in food production, water supply, shelter, employment, and clearing forests for land and agriculture and other commercial interests. So, habang tumatagal tayo, mas lumalaki yung needs natin na, I mean, sorry So, habang tumatagal, mas lumalaki yung population natin and mas lumalaki yung needs na kailangan natin. Eh, hindi naman lahat ng needs natin makikita lang natin sa iisang country. We also need some connection from other countries para ma-satisfy yung needs natin. Katulad sa food, sa water, sa ganyan, sa iba pang agriculture. Ayan. And also sa political, sabihin ko, political opinions, ganyan. Yun lang.
Okay, so now let's move on to the third force, which is the rise of international law and universal principles. So this force is will be discussed by us, Sharina, and me. So the first part is Sharina's. Go, Sharina.
Yes, for the creation of international law, as we all know, states has their own laws. So this international law was created for the purpose of um, resolving the conflicts that might happen with the rules of the states is is not parang hindi sila swak sa isa't isa. So, meron tayong sinusunod na international laws. So, itong international law na to, pinoproduce siya for through four variety of ways. Una is international treaties and agreements. Ito yung pinaka significant source ng international law, yung mga treaty na to, as well as the roots of intergovernmental organizations. Second is napoproduce din itong napoproduce itong international law over time through customary procedures which often become codified in law. And third is general legal concepts shared by a large number of states. And fourth or final way para magkaroon ng international law is the law emerges from the international network of legal scholars. Miss Sherwin.
Okay, so the next part of the rise of international law and universal principles is the transgovernmental networks. So, yung transgovernmental networks, ito yung horizontal linkages na nagbabind ng mga governmental agencies. It is through these networks that the different branches of the government in the world, including their various agencies, exchange information and coordinate governmental actions, uphold common standards, and enforce domestic and international laws. Tas yung pangalawa naman is yung non-governmental actors. Yung non-governmental actors naman, ito din yung nagbabind sa states with numerous transnational governmental organizations. Itong transnational non-governmental organizations ay private entities na nagva-voluntarily form ng Advanced Universal Principles. Tapos, yung mga organizations ay nagko-constitute ng global civil society to ensure na yung states at yung governments ay mag-uphold ng generally accepted principles of international law. Parang sila yung nagsiserve ng moral vanguards of the states sa mundo. Tsaka sila din yung nag-evaluate ng mga performance according to their international standards para mas ma-monitor yung moral credibility ng mga governmental linkage. Okay, so next course is the communication networks and social media. Alam naman natin na etong new normal ay mas na papalakas ang teknolohiya kasi dito na tayo nag-aaral. So, di ba online class tayo ngayon? Kasi nga pandemic, bawal pa mag-face-to-face. So, mas na i-experience natin yung advent ng technological advancement ng communication. So, ganun din sa political platform. Ayun nga. Sa political platform, mas spread yung informations about politics, about government news, government updates sa atin mamayan. So, ayun yung isang force na nagpapalakas sa ating state, globalized world. Yung communication networks and social media. Mas napapabilis yung pag-spread ng information dahil sa social media. Ayan. So now let's ask Miss Sharina Miranda for the last force of this number two.
Okay, so for the last force, which is the rise of transnational activism, this challenges the existence of the state in a way that a large group of people in different states and nations form together or create a group together in able to yung nagkakaroon sila ng active na participation para sa pag nakakapansin sila ng hindi maganda sa global na nangyayari sa buong bansa. Well, malaking factor dito is yung pag-rise up ng, yun nga, technology and also yung social media. Kasi ngayon, di ba, marami ng means para mag-connect ang isa't isa at maging aware tayo sa kung ano nangyayari globally. So ngayon, merong mga tao na nag-form together para um, create ng action towards sa mga um, nakikita nila na kabalukturan sa mundo na created by laws or created by this government or other factors. So, ayun, nagpo-form sila, nagkakaroon ng um, transnational activism, iba't ibang tao all over the world.
Okay, so thank you guys for the very wonderful insights the about the five forces of global forces that challenge the existence of the state in the present contemporary world. Ngayon naman ay i-explain natin paano tong forces na to ni-redefine yung nature and functions of the state in the globalized world.
Tungkol yung sa global economic interdependence, di ba ang sabi is um, yung mga laws is created by, may kanya-kanyang laws yung state. Pero hindi siya nasusunod since wala siyang absolute power ata yun sa tao niya, sa mga tao niya. Kasi under tayo ng mga malalaking kumpanya na merong katulad ngayon sa mga Saudi, bago tayo sa kanila is ganun. Yung sa naman, international law at universal principles, yung existence ng World Bank, although may law yung international law, pero hindi nasusunod kasi katulad yung Philippines, malaki masyado yung utang. So parang yung kung ano yung gusto ng World Bank bago tayo makautang. Kahit kahit parang naapakan na human rights natin, pa rin tayo para makautang.
So
Yeah,
yung yung sa global and political interdependence, since na under tayo ng iba't ibang countries katulad ng sa Saudi, sa China, ganyan. Hindi hindi na-a-approve yung ibang laws.
Yung
Kasi
hindi na properly follow yung ibang laws na
ay,
in-implement ng state or ng government.
yun, hindi hindi proper na na-implement yung ibang laws ng mga government. Ganun.
Okay, for the naman, communication networks and social media, kung i-relate natin siya sa kasalukuyang ano, panahon, tas kung paano siya nakaka-affect sa state in the globalized world, marerelate ko siya sa sa kung paano minanipulate ng government yung media. Kasi para sa akin, malaki yung power ng government sa pagkokontrol ng media. Kung ah, parang niregulate ng government kung ano lang yung pwedeng ilabas na impormasyon ng mga broadcast networks. Halimbawa, mm, maraming mga nagsisilabasan na impormasyon na parang nakakasira sa imahe ng government. Ginagawa ng government, tinetake action nila agad yon. Parang ginagawa nila ng action in a way na i-phase out agad yung mga information na nakakasira sa kanila. Parang nililimitahan ng government ng state yung freedom of speech. Kasi para sa akin, maraming mga kabaluktutan na ginagawa yung gobyerno. Kaya with their absolute power, ginagamit nila ang power nila para makontrol yung freedom of speech ng sambayanan. Which affects the fourth definition of state. It has the exclusive legitimate use of power in the enforcement of order within its territory.
For
Ayun.
the rise of transnational activism naman is, ayun nga, di ba, yung rise of transnational activism is an act of people around the world to make a law that will protect the citizens internationally. Example is yung pagkakaroon ng against yung law against slavery, nagkaroon ng law against slavery. It redefines the functions of the state in a way that, 'di ba, ang state, ang sabi is um, ang involved lang doon sa laws of state is yung mga tao lang na nandun sa state, yung kabilang lang dun sa state. Pero through the rise of transnational activism, hindi nangyayari yon. Nagkakaroon ng international law, hindi hindi siya pasok sa definition ng state, which is yun nga, naggagawa ng rules or ng law dun lang sa state. Get mo ba? Na yung law na nagagawa dito sa transnational activism is for global na siya. Ganun. Just hindi naman din na doon sa definition ng, ay, or yung mga ways para magkaroon ng international law, di ba? As I defined earlier, hindi siya pasok doon sa ways ng pagkakaroon. So, hindi rin siya pasok doon sa definition ng state. So, ayun, china-challenge niya yung definition ng state in the globalized world.
To add more about my insights, for example na lang, yung sa vaccine ng COVID, 'di ba meron namang much better na vaccine for COVID ganyan. Parang mas effective siya, pero yung pinili ng government natin is yung sa China. Kasi parang mas close yung government natin sa China kaysa dun sa mas effective na ano. Ewan ko kung ano, edit mo na lang kung hindi siya pasok. Pero parang ganun yung thought na parang meron namang mas effective. Pero dahil mas close natin yung isang government, doon tayo sa kanila kumuha. Which
Under,
is ano,
under ano yan? Global
yung,
interdependence.
yung economic and political. Tama ba?
I
Ay,
agree with you, Kate.
economic political integration. Parang mas dependent kasi yung economy natin sa China. Kaya mas
Oo.
dependent yung China.
Parang ganun yung thought. Parang ganun.
I agree
Yun
with
lang.
you, Kate.
Yes.
Yun lang.
Because we are
Eh, di ba ang state created siya, yung mga laws supposed to be created for the good or betterment ng mga tao niya. Pero hindi
Mm.
nangyari yun kasi merong sariling agenda. Which is,
Mm.
Add ko
You
rin,
know,
add ko rin, West Philippine Sea dispute.
yes.
go.
Di ba ang daming nagrereklamo, bakit tahimik lang si Duterte about West Philippine Sea? Atin naman yun. Ba't parang hinahayaan niya lang, ba't parang ano, hindi lumalaban yung bansa
Government.
natin o yung government para angkinin yung atin.
Mm.
So, ayun. Maybe they have they have something behind our minds that we don't know. Maybe they have political alliances that has not yet been disclosed to us, citizens of the Philippines.
So,
Thank you guys for sharing your valuable and impactful insights for our team discussion for the summative assessment. I guarantee that we can transcribe many ideas for our second part of this assessment, which is the written part of this discussion.
Yes po.
Thank you guys.
yay. Thank
Thank you po.
you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye
Bye.
po.